The purpose of automatic slack adjusters is to compensate for brake lining wear. Rockwell does this by controlling the length of the stroke of the air chamber push rod. After all, chamber stroke is what roadside inspectors check when checking for brake adjustment. Rockwell ASAs are installed at a specified working angle for proper clearance between the linings and the drum or rotor. This clearance is different between drum and disc brakes. Brake lining wear gradually increases that clearance, causing the air chamber push rod to move a greater distance to apply the brake. If the push rod stroke extends beyond the designated limit, the ASA clevis raises the slack adjuster actuator rod and the piston, which lifts the actuator. Now, note that there are several different piston lengths for different ASA applications. This length is critical for proper stroke length of your automatic slack adjuster. I'll show you how to look for this a little later on. Spiral serrations on the actuator and the pawl ride over each other, repositioning the actuator on the stationary pawl. Actual adjustment occurs during the return stroke of the push rod, which limits application forces on the adjusting parts. This adjustment will occur only when required. When the brakes are released, the chamber push rod fully retracts, the slack adjuster arm returns, and the ASA worm gear rotates counterclockwise. The actuator rod and the piston push the actuator downward. The actuator, in its new position with the stationary pawl, rotates via the spiral serrated T. Rotation of the actuator in its downward travel causes the worm gear to rotate. In turn, the worm gear causes the splined gear to advance. The gear rotates the camshaft to reset the push rod stroke to its correct length. The excessive distance between the brake linings and the drum or the rotor is thus reduced to recommended specifications. Through the years, based on customer input, Rockwell has made a number of product enhancements to improve performance, quality, and durability of the automatic slack adjuster. They are new Teflon-coated and reduced squeeze O-rings to reduce internal torque, which provides easier mechanical operation of the slack. A new raised lip worm shaft seal with greater bearing contact to the worm to improve sealing and prevent corrosion. For example, when the slack is mounted upside down, water cannot seep into the seal area. A grease groove and holes added to the ASA gear splines to improve lubrication and prevent corrosion and wear of ASA and camshaft splines. This makes it easier to remove the ASA if required. Now, this will be on all slacks except for the ones with 10 spline gears. A spiral groove added to the worm shaft journal to improve lubrication and prevent corrosion. But some very noticeable improvements are boot straps that are color matched to the pistons to enable the technician or parts man to visually identify the internal piston without disassembly. Remember, we said piston length determines the push rod travel before adjustment occurs. So be sure to choose the correct piston color for your chamber application. It's very important to consider chamber size when selecting the slack adjuster part number from the part list. 4 different actuator pistons are used to adjust air chamber stroke length. Generally, shorter length slack adjusters used with type 20 and smaller air chambers require red pistons. Yellow pistons are typically used for drive axle and trailer axle applications with drum brakes. There are green and blue pistons used on disc brakes for drive axles. Now remember, there are a couple of other piston applications, so be sure to follow your OEM specifications for correct piston color. Although Rockwell ASAs fit a broad range of truck and trailer applications, this latest housing contour revision allows us to fit even more applications. To meet a variety of clearance situations, we offer 2 pawl locations. They're left-handed and right-handed, used together, as well as an unhanded version. Rockwell ASAs perform because they're built tough, with a torque rating of 30,000 inch-pounds. They're sealed against contaminants with positive lubrication to all moving parts for dependable, consistent operation and lower maintenance costs. Rockwell's simple mechanical ratchet-type adjuster does not utilize the slip clutches, which tend to wear out. Rockwell ASAs are available for steer, drive, and trailer axles. You can specify Rockwell ASAs for retrofits, as well as original equipment. Except for installation templates, no special tools are needed for service or installation, so they're easy to install in the field. Road proven by billions of service miles, Rockwell ASAs ensure even, consistent brake performance while improving both efficiency and productivity, two of the main forces driving business today. All right, now let's go out to the garage to see how to properly install and maintain Rockwell automatic slack adjusters.